can't dream it, you gotta scheme it. And that's where we come in. Super Bowl winning coach Brian Billick has a winning game plan. Plus, one Sunday surprise why the biggest factors will not be the biggest names. And one Tuesday guest, Jalen Hurts, Philly's future. But is that future now?
Know that.
This is where the tough questions are the only questions. This is NFL Total Access. I'm unstoppable. We can count them on one hand, just 5 days until Super Bowl 55. Welcome into NFL Total Access presented by CDW. My name is MJ Acosta-Ruiz. Our live reports from Tampa Bay continue tonight and all week long. Terrell Davis, D'Angelo Hall, and Brian Billick joined me, plus a check-in on Super Bowl 55 from our number 55. Willie McGinnis will be with us as well. Tampa Bay continues to roll out the welcome mat, the super safe welcome mat for everyone taking part in this incredible week. 55,000 people will be in attendance, 25,000 actual people, and 30,000 fan cutouts. The Bucs will be the first team to host the Super Bowl in their home stadium. But this is actually the 5th Super Bowl to be hosted by the city of Tampa. As for the Chiefs, they're treating this not-so-regular Sunday like a regular season road game set to arrive on Saturday. Let's welcome in a big hello to Tom Pelissero, who is on site now and joins us. And Tom, what is the latest on the Chiefs' COVID concerns?
Well, MJ, all clear on 2 rounds of COVID testing for both the Chiefs and the Bucs today, one day after the Chiefs placed 2 players on the reserve COVID-19 list because of a high-risk close contact. That contact, I'm told, was with a barber who was allowed into the Chiefs facility to give players their pre-Super Bowl haircuts. Now, the Chiefs followed best practices here. The barber was tested 5 consecutive days. All those tests came back negative, including a PCR test on Saturday that turned up negative on Sunday. The barber took one more rapid result test on Sunday, then proceeded into the facility. The result was briefly delayed, and so the barber donned double PPE, began to cut backup center Daniel Kilgore's hair before the positive result came back. Now, the barber was swiftly removed. He spoke with NFL investigators, told them he'd also cut receiver Demarcus Robinson's haircut away from the facility the previous day. That's why those 2 players now on the list. They cannot practice this week, but if they continue to test negative, MJ, they both can play on Sunday.
Wow. Tom, this is exactly why the daily tests are so important here. Okay, Tom, thanks. Meantime, the Chiefs continued their media duties today. Patrick Mahomes cut right to the chase on what this week means to him.
For me, I'm trying to find a way to repeat, find a way to win a second championship, and find a way to do whatever I can to win with this team. You don't get these opportunities every single year in the NFL to be in the Super Bowl and to be in these games. And so you don't want to look back and have regrets about how you played and how you went about the week of preparing to go out there and play your best football.
Man, we look pressure right in the face. I mean, I feel like, everybody on the outside, maybe it might be pressure for everybody else, but to us, it's like, we go out there, we do what we do, execute, play football. We're not really worried about the pressure. We just kind of, as long as we execute and do what we're supposed to do, I feel like we have a good chance of winning the game. So we don't really necessarily, and me personally, I don't really try to listen to the outside noise, and Coach Reed does a good job of expressing that to, the team. It's just worried about what's going on. Let's go out there, execute, be us, and I think we'll be fine.
Over in Kansas City, Omar Ruiz at Arrowhead. And a lot of talk this week, Omar, about Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce and their production. What sense are you getting about how they might be used on Sunday?
Yeah, well, Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill both have been dominant individually throughout their careers, and this postseason has been no exception. In fact, they've been rewriting the record books. They are the first teammates in NFL history to have multiple 100-yard receiving games in the same postseason. I asked Patrick Mahomes how he's seen his dynamic duo play off of one another so well on the field.
I think what makes each of them great really complements the other well. The fact that Tyreek can beat man coverage, catch over the top, be able to make big plays happen, opens up the middle of the field for Travis. And so to be able to have guys that complement each other so well and individually are such great talents, I think it was what makes them such a dynamic duo and a group of guys that I'm glad that are on my team.
Mahomes outlining the schematic advantages there. Bucs corner Sean Murphy-Bunting telling me what he's seen about that dynamic duo is how well they play off of each other emotionally, each going crazy when the other does well, obviously hoping to limit that in Super Bowl 55, unlike they were able to do in their Week 12 matchup when Kelsey and Hill combined for 351 yards and 3 touchdowns. MJ?
Oh, was that all? All right, Omar, thanks. We'll, of course, be checking in with you all of this week from KC. All right, let's welcome in our starting lineup, our starting roster, if you will, for this show. We have Terrell Davis, D'Angelo Hall, and our head coach, Brian Billick, joining us. And, guys, all right, listen, last night was all about setting the scene, opening night, all of that stuff. But now it's Tuesday, so now we really get to dive deep into the game plan here for the Super Bowl. So let's start with you, D. Hall. How do you devise a game plan to stop Patrick Mahomes?
Well, I'll tell you what, MJ, it's difficult. You know, plenty of defensive coordinators have tried and not been successful. But I think if you got a team like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in this defense, I think it starts up front with those 4 pass rushers, right? You saw what they did to Aaron Rodgers last week. Anytime you can rush with Shaq Barrett, JPP, you got Vita Vea back, and Ndamukong Suh was pushing that pocket up the middle, creating one-on-ones on the outside. Look, this Bucs defense understands the complexities of trying to guard Tyreek Hill one-on-one. Travis Kelce through the middle of the football field. Those are two guys that, you know, certain parts of the game, yes, you're going to have to cover them one-on-one. But this front 4, the way they're able to rush, is going to make things just a little bit easier. And you got to have to kind of pick and choose when you want to double team, depending on situations, down the distance. What does Kansas City like to do as far as getting the ball in certain guys' hands in those situations? So it's going to be a little mixture of double teaming some guys, playing a little bit of man, some zone. But everything revolves around this front 4 being able to generate pressure for Todd Bowles and that defense.
Yeah, I will tell you this. You can take anybody you want out of the game plan. You want to shut down Tyreek Hill? Easy. You want to shut down Kelce? Easy. You want to shut down both? Now you got a problem because you just run out of bodies. If whatever you got to do to shut those down, you still got to take care of the other outside guys with Watkins and Hardman. A 4-man rush, and Tampa's got a good 4-man rush. The problem is that 4-man rush, if it doesn't get home, it leaves alleys for Patrick Mahomes. So that's the difficulty here. Clearly, you've got to be more passive. Don't give up the big plays. You got to live with the underneath plays. That means Mahomes running around a little bit. That means throwing the ball underneath. You got to rally up and tackle well. They did against Green Bay, but you can't give them the big play down the field. Hope your offense can keep up and make them kick the occasional field goal. Don't trade touchdowns for field goals because they're going to get their big plays.
Yeah, Coach, you're absolutely right. You think about this Kansas City team, how explosive they are. Speed doesn't matter when you're in the red zone. There's only so far that receiver can run. So Tyreek Hill and all of these fast receivers, Mecole Hardman, all of their speed is going to be eliminated when they get to the red zone. So if Tampa can just hold on and not give up those explosive plays down the football field and get Kansas City in the red zone, I think they can get back to their normal style of football defensively because they aren't worried about their speed at that point.
You know, and that speed is something we'll be getting into a little later in the show as well. But, TD, I'm going to hand it off to you here for a moment because that Bucs defense, they can turn the heat up. We already know that. So what do the Chiefs offense need to do to really neutralize that Bucs pass rush?
Well, there's a combination of things you can do when you have a ferocious front like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And, you know, this team played the 49ers last year in the Super Bowl, and they had a really good front. And so things you can do, like you can do draw plays. And let me show you a tape kind of breaking down what they did against teams who have really good fronts. You know, draw plays right here. You see Larry getting the ball. A good pass rush by the Ravens right there. That negates that pass rush right there. You see again right here, a little quick kind of a screen out to Tyreek Hill, put the ball in his hands very quickly. That negates the pass rush. And again, right here, a little slant route. And once he gets the ball, it's over. I mean, he's going to go ahead and take that thing the distance there. So you can do that. You can do also move in the pocket, as we'll see coming up in a minute in this video right here. But they can move in the pocket. That also negates the pass rush. And then you can go up tempo. You know, defenses hate you going up tempo because they don't get a chance to catch their breath. They're not going to pass rush on every single rush with 100%. And the Chiefs understand. Andy Reid knows what's up. Eric Bieniemy understands how to keep a defense like that off balance. And I think they'll do a really good job this Sunday.
I'm glad you mentioned Bieniemy and them game planning here, because while we're on the topic of defense, I actually spoke to Bucs linebacker Devin White earlier today, and he said he knows that opposing offensive coordinators have to game plan differently for them. He knows they have to make sure they're getting that ball out quickly. And D. Hall, I gave you a little shout out there because he agrees. He does think they're the best linebacker duo, him and Levante David, in the league. So I'll send you that video a little later, my friend. All right, guys, thanks. Coming up next on NFL Total Access, true or false? 13 years after he did it the first time, Steve Spagnuolo will baffle Brady again.
Uh-oh.
True or false? Mecole Hardman's speed is more dangerous than Tyreek Hill's.
I can't run with you, boy.